Hello there, and welcome to the Outside Film Podcast, where we talk film, TV, games, and all that jazz that is known tomorrow. This week, we're talking about Andor. My name is Tom, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host John. How are you this week?
Hello, hello. I am very happy because I watched Andor
Oh,
and
oh,
very excited to talk about it. And yeah, feeling great. Yeah. What about you, Tom?
yeah, I'm also feeling good. Thank you for asking. I can't even begin to describe how happy I am with Andor, considering that a lot of the Star Wars shows that we've had have been very oriented towards fans and putting in characters that we know and love. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. As a fan, I'm very happy with that. But there's definitely been something missing, in the storytelling that we've had across, Mandalorian, especially season two, and Book
Mm.
of Boba Fett and Kenobi. Like we reviewed all of those on the pod, so you can, watch our episodes and all of
Check
them.
them out.
And we
Check them out.
like, yes, exactly. And we liked them all. But there was something missing, and I think Andor fills that void amazingly. I would say
Exactly.
this is the best Star Wars show. It might
Yeah.
even be the best Star Wars thing since the original trilogy. It is
Yeah. Since Empire.
fantastic.
Exactly. It explores the idea of, what happens within that Star Wars world, There's something serious about it, like there's something mature about it, and it explores in a very mature way, and it explores every detail that helps us to, get us along with this idea of the rebellion against the Empire and leading up to Rogue One as well. So it just gives us the
Yes.
idea of this character, Cassian Andor. And this might be one of the best character developments I've seen in this TV show for Cassian. Like, oh, sweet, sweet. No, I was about to sing Sweet Caroline. No, sweet character development right there, in that whole
Sweet
show. Cal.
Cassian. Ba, ba, ba. Go on,
Okay.
it works.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
also did an episode on Rogue One, so you can check that out if you haven't seen it. But one of the things we did talk about was the characterization in that movie. I think that's the element that leaves a lot to be desired. And I think this show puts that back in,
Yes.
especially for Cassian. It adds so many more layers. But we're already getting into it. So I have to say, full spoilers ahead. So if you
Full
haven't
spoilers.
watched Andor,
Oh,
please do. Please,
please
I
do.
cannot even if you're not a big fan of Star Wars, if you haven't watched any of the TV shows, this is so removed from everything else. There's not
Yes.
much that you need to know. As I say, it's not like the other shows where the cameos and different characters pop up that you might need to watch the Clone Wars for. It's not like any of that. It
No.
exists on its own. And this is written by Tony Gilroy. He did the story for this and he wrote quite a lot of the episodes. And he's very outspoken as just not being a Star Wars fan. He's not like a mega fan or any of this stuff, and he just wanted to write a good story. I think that is such a strength of this that it's not weighed down by feeling the need to call back
Yeah.
to stuff. Like, I like it when they call back to stuff, but it can get quite frustrating. And this just, it's like an antidote to all the Star Wars that has been
Yeah.
frustrating in the last few years.
I know what you mean. Like this guy, I didn't know he wasn't a Star Wars fan or anything, but I think that's a good choice for,
Mm,
a writer. There's some pros and cons about like, there's a writer that could be knowledgeable about Star Wars, but this is incredible how he made the show realistic and, he fully understood the character of Cassian that leads up to Rogue One as well. And it is incredible how he
Well,
made,
he
yeah.
did the reshoots for Rogue One. He wrote the reshoots. So a lot of what you see in Rogue
Oh,
One is from him. So it makes a lot of sense that he would come into this. And there are various small elements in this which I think are quite fun. So for example, in the prison arc, which is the third
oh,
arc of the
the prison
show,
arc. Can't wait to talk about
I
it.
mean, come on, come on. Cassian escapes with a fellow prisoner called Melshi, and Melshi is actually in Rogue One and ends
I
up
remember.
going to Scarif with Cassian. And he wasn't in the original cut of Rogue One. That was something that Tony Gilroy added in, just this random character who, had a couple of lines and died. But now we know so much more about him. What I love about this show is that not only is it about background characters, but it fleshes everyone out. There's not a single
Oh
person
yeah.
who has a
Oh yeah.
speaking line who doesn't have so much personality just dripping like everything feels real and human, and there is a lot of death in this show, and whenever somebody dies, it's brutal.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially in the first three episodes when Cassian and Luthen escapes, there was this moment where the whole town was, literally banging on the
Yes.
making the sound. It was like this
Hmm.
call, and it was so
Yeah.
cool. Like
The sound
it
of
was
the
just
reckoning.
yeah, the sound of the reckoning, and it was like this idea that the whole town's got this job to do. It was like, oh crap, we need to do this, and then it just gave the security guys, they gave them fear, and that was like,
Yeah.
the idea of the rebellion, and it was real as well. It was like looking on police brutality, like, with security, they killed
Yes.
Bix's lover, and that was so
They
heartbreaking.
did.
Like,
They did.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
and
mean, like that is such a great sequence because you have Marva telling them. I mean, the brilliant Fiona Shaw
Fiona Shaw.
absolutely just knocks it out of the park as always, and she's telling the corpos, and she's like, That's the sound of a reckoning," and it's always the worst part is when it stops because when it
Oh,
stops, you don't know what's going to happen next, and then when it stops. The corpos are freaking out, and there's just this eeriness and this silence. And I think I'm so happy they released the first 3 episodes all together because you watch them and they're this perfect little arc, this perfect little story that you see, and you're like, oh damn. Oh damn, this is like a different kind of Star Wars, which is doing very different things. And there are so many small moments that I absolutely loved in just the way that it all came together in this final scene where Cassian leaves Ferrix, mirrored for the first time that he left Canary as a kid. You know that things are about to change, and so much has gone down. I think it's so masterfully crafted the way that they structured the entire season with these arcs and a big payoff every 3 or so episodes. I think it's excellent.
yeah, it just fully explores, characterization. And it is really interesting how the show explores the characters that you don't like, but kind of not support them. You know what I mean? Like, what was the guy who, I need to know. I need to
Cyril?
know. Is it Cyril? No.
Cyril who eats the cereal?
Yes, I thought that was
Yes.
Dedra, but yeah, Cyril. We get to explore that. Like, that is a character that was very intense in the few opening scenes. He was very dedicated to the Empire, and we get to explore where he lived with his mother, and his mother just bullies him. No, not bullies him, but like
Yes.
just like taunting him, like
Yeah.
you don't do anything. We're gonna get you a job. Like Uncle
Yeah.
Uncle would say. I don't know what Uncle was
Uncle
called,
Harlow,
but.
yeah,
Uncle
absolutely.
Mel, yeah, yeah, yeah. But we get to explore that different perspective.
Yeah, like you can almost identify with Cyril. He's just this guy who cares so much for this like regime. He finds out that the 2 corpos have been killed, and he's so invested in it, and it becomes this kind of like this need to see justice and this want to climb up the ranks and to see Cassian's demise. And you just know this show is showing people getting indoctrinated into this imperial machine. Like Cyril genuinely thinks that devoting himself to this fascism and wanting to get into all of this and taking these matters into his own hands and trying to belittle people, he genuinely believes that that's a good thing because he's been brainwashed to believe. You can see a couple of cases of people who have been brainwashed. Like Mon Mothma's daughter, Leda, she's like
No.
almost like in this cult that's supporting these old Chandrillan ways and essentially only doing it to spite her mother. And
Oof.
she doesn't know like how detrimental that's going to be. And there's so many great moments with Mon Mothma.
Oh,
Particularly at the end, where she
yeah.
has this struggle of, do I literally, essentially sell my daughter off so I can, help fund this rebellion, something greater than me. When she knows that this arranged marriage, even though it's not an arranged marriage at this point, it will be an arranged marriage. She knows if it's anything like hers with Perrin, it's gonna make Leader's life just so depressing forever.
That is depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to see that perspective, like the idea of people being taken away, empire that easily, like the prison arc, for example, and they are, easily brainwashed into this empire, and then we get this characterization of Cassian comes in because in the beginning he doesn't really care for the rebellion. He's only there for
Mm.
the money. He's only there to get something for him, really. And then this prison arc just completely changes him. He fully realizes he needs to spread this message that there are people suffering, because of the empire there. They're stuck and there's one way out.
Yes.
Yes, one way
Yes.
out.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just like he spends the early times of the season, the early episodes, he spends that drifting and he's only out for himself. He spends the entire time with his friends Brasso and Bix and B2. He's getting them to lie for him. He's doing things that are going to keep him out of harm's way, but he doesn't understand the consequences that might have, especially with Bix. You can see the consequences that have. She's beaten up by the corpos. As you said, her boyfriend Tim is killed, and then she gets put through this horrific torture, which, as you can see in episodes 11 and 12, she is just a shell of what she was. Like, she looks so ill and tormented. And a big part of Cassian's arc is to stop drifting, is to stop being passive and become an active character. At the end, when he sends off all of his friends in the ship, he's finally letting them be free and sacrificing his life for them, supporting them instead of them having to lie for him. He's finding them a way off, when you just know that the Empire is just going to, after episode 12, the Empire is going to tighten their grip on Ferrix. Most of the people who stood up to the Empire are going to get a fist 10 times. Like, imagine if the Death Star hadn't been destroyed. I would reckon that planets like Ferrix would be gone for doing small things like attack the Empire who were interrupting a funeral.
Yeah, it is scary how the Empire got that much control and they arrested Cassian for no reason. That is a very scary thing as well. They took, the idea of like 1984 into this like whole thing, it was fully realized, it was fully realistic, and in this sort of sense, like, what the Empire was doing, their horrible intentions, and they don't see, people as humans. They just see as workers or not as anyone. All they want is just power and get in the ranks. Like, Cyril, exactly. He's indoctrinated into that ideology. He's thinking about like power and thinking the wrong things as well. So you get to see all of that, with Dedra, who is fully into this Empire ideology, and she'll get in any other way, like literally making Bix completely ill, and it just gives that characterization for Cassian, like he needs to do something about this.
Yeah, and Dedra as well. Like, oh my God. Like, you start
It
off
is
by
scary.
really sympathizing with her. You understand that she's trying to rise up in the ranks, and you don't see her as a villain at the start. It's very much like she's fighting against these other Imperials, and she's genuinely better at her job than them. But then after like the midpoint of the season, you realize that her being better at her job means that she is literally oppressing people. You see her go from somebody who is driven and committed to her work to somebody who's genuinely downtrodden people and plotting the different ways they can exploit and kill the innocent people of Ferrix. And that is just terrifying. Like,
Yeah,
that is
man.
these characters that, that they generally make you root for. Like, she's going up against Blevin, played by Ben Bailey Smith. Anyone who's watched 4 O'Clock Club,
Hey,
it's Mr. Carter, of course, of
Mr.
course.
Carter. Oh, hell
Absolutely
yeah.
brilliant guy. His season of Taskmaster is hilarious. But you see her go up against him, and you want her to win. And when she does, it's like, yeah, great, she's done it. She's got her post. But
Yay!
the
Oh.
implement, yeah, she did it. Oh wait, no, she's
Oh
torturing
no,
people,
she's about to
and
kill people.
yeah, exactly. And it gets to the point where at the end, when the riot starts in episode
Oh, the
12,
riots.
and she is thrown into the middle of this pile, she gets hit by a brick, and everyone's kind of like scrambling. I genuinely thought they were gonna like rip her apart. Like, I like genuinely was expecting, like,
Bruh.
in The
That's
Hobbit,
too
when,
graphic. Why did you
yeah,
think
like,
of that? They were literally gonna
no,
pull
no,
up. Bruh.
no, like,
Wow.
in The Hobbit, when Alfred is almost like pulled apart by the people of Lake Town.
Oh.
It's like that. I
Oh
genuinely thought that was gonna
no.
happen.
Oh my God. No, that
But it
that's
but it
too
gets
scary, man.
but
That's too
it
scary. You
it gets
thought,
to the point
yeah, she's
when,
just gonna get beaten up. Oh no, she's gonna get
yeah,
her limbs
yeah,
chopped. Bruh. That
but
that
it
that
get
they too graphic, but
but it gets to the point where that's genuinely what she almost deserves because of all the
yeah.
stuff that she's done to people. And she does make it out, but because Cyril saved her,
Oh
like
yeah.
Cyril, who's literally been stalking her and trying to get into
I've been
the
trying to
ISB.
save you.
Yeah,
Bruh.
it's generally like all these characters on the antagonistic side are only in it for themselves, whereas
Yeah.
Ferrix is a community. The rebellion isn't quite
Yeah.
there yet, but Ferrix is a community, and they rise up and they manage to help because of all the times that they have been pushed down. And like the final straw of it, not being able to mourn Marva. And can I just say, Marva's speech at the funeral
Oh,
is just,
cinema.
oh,
Oh my God.
so good. I had such an emotional reaction to that.
Yeah, same. It's a perfect speech, giving that boost of like what a rebellion needs, and it needs hope and community and to work together to fully realize individual people need to stand up, for
Mm,
people who are being pushed down. And she says, "If I weren't dead, I would be beating up these bastards." Like at the end, it was
yeah.
just great. It just gives that satisfaction because she's dead, but she gave that message like literally in front of the Empire, and that was
Yeah.
just like, oh hell yeah,
It's
it's like,
brilliant. And she's like, well, we've all been sleeping and it's time to wake up and do
oh,
something about this. And it's a sentiment that you get a couple of times. You get it from Luthen. Don't you want to give it all at once, something real? Don't you want to fight these bastards for real? That kind of sentiment.
oh yeah,
And it's brilliant on so many levels.
yeah,
And the way that riot starts with the Imperial officer
yeah.
upturning B2 Emo, who is just the cutest, sweetest droid you'll ever
Oh
see. He flips him over, and it's like shit just got real.
no, B2.
Brasso clocks him with Marva's brick. Like incredible,
I think Marv will
incredible.
be happy, like, oh yeah, my
Yeah,
brick, bonk, just like,
absolutely,
and oh, the
bro.
score in so many places. Right, there's one that I have got on loop right now.
I know the one. I know the one.
You know the one. It's Neomos, and the introduction to that for the beginning of the prison arc. Like, it's so funky. It just gives
Yeah,
me like,
it's brilliant.
yeah, it's like, doo-doo-doo-doo. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
so
well, we
so
cut
good.
to people have called it Space Florida. We cut to that,
Space.
and it's just so and fun fact that also shows up in episode 1 as well in the club that Cassian goes to at the beginning. That's there.
Oh,
Yeah,
right,
yeah,
right,
it's
yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
And yeah, the
Mm,
score is just there's so many just beautiful, beautiful moments.
beautiful scores.
Like I think every end of an arc has just the moment. Like I think about the one way out scene
Yeah.
where they're all running through
One
the
way out.
where they're
Oh,
all running through the prison and then they jump
oh,
off. Like the
and
music in
then
that. And Aldani, when all of the people on Aldani are seeing the eye and they're seeing this meteor shower and they're
oh,
crying and
the
it's beautiful.
eye.
And at the same time, they're flying through a Nimic who has been crushed
Oh,
by literally the thing that he was trying to use to liberate people. Like, this person who is so,
boy.
in the cause is yelling, climb, as like it's just fantastic on so many levels. And I think
I'm
the
getting
score
goosebumps right
elevates
now.
that. Yeah, right. It's so good. And I have to say, this show doesn't use the volume. It doesn't use any of that stuff. It feels so tangible and real. It's got so much like, oh,
Emotion and weight. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
it's so good in the way that it's made and in the way that it's shot and all the acting and everything. Like it's genuinely frustrating that the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, which I think was well written
yeah,
for the most part, but looked like absolute shit. Like this
yeah.
this looks so much better. It really does. And they put so much care into this, a show about that guy from Rogue One. Like that's genuinely crazy.
That guy from, yeah, we were like, when that was announced, you were like, that guy from
Him?
Rogue One. Oh my God, that guy from Rogue One who died. Oh my God. Sorry, spoilers. That was for Rogue One, but if
Oh
you haven't
no,
seen
John,
Rogue One,
why? No.
I'm sorry. I had to tell
I
you.
didn't know. I
I'm
didn't
sorry.
know. But that's
Oh,
what's so beautiful about the post-credit scene, right? Like, I tell you what,
oh.
most post-credit scenes, when I heard that this show had a post-credit scene, I was like, oh, here we go.
I didn't watch the post-credit scene. I
Oh,
forgot.
didn't you? Oh my
No.
God, John. Oh my God, John. Oh my God. Right, okay, okay. Let me let me tell you what it is. Okay, you ready?
I'm gonna be
So
mad. Right,
I
tell
was
me.
I was expecting like a cameo or something like that. It wasn't. It's one of the best post-credit scenes I've seen ever. So we see some droids, some kind of like spider-like droids, using those big things they were building in the prison. Those kind of like star-shaped things they're building in the prisons.
Yeah.
They're building that and they're putting them all onto this gold surface, right? The camera pans out and shows that this is happening on a huge scale, and it continues to pan out until we see what are they building, I hear you ask? The dish to the Death Star. Cassian was
Holy.
literally building the very thing that would eventually kill him in that prison.
Oh my
Oh no, he's gone.
Oh
He's
my
far
God.
away.
I need to go to Disney. No, please don't kill her, Cassie. I have no words to say. That is crazy. That is great visual storytelling right there,
Mm,
because that kills Cassian at the end of Rogue One. You're like, oh no, he's still
yeah, right.
alive. My boy's still alive. Yay,
For now.
Cassian. He's got season 2. Copium. Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that is just like so depressing. Like the amount of times that this show builds you up only to break you down. It introduces Nimic, for example, who is just this really, really wholesome guy who's writing a manifesto and he cares so much about the
Oh
cause, and
no, Mimic.
he dies so pointlessly for something so trivial. and then you have Skeen, who doesn't care about it all and wants to just like leave with the money. And then in the prison arc, you've got the MVP, Andy Serkis himself, Kino
Kino.
Loy, who is just fantastic. And he has this whole speech about how they need to stand up and do what's right and they can escape if they work together. And there's no point. They're dead already. And there's no point dying, giving them what they want. They should at least, tempt this freedom. And he does so much. Somebody who was so content with the prison system, who managed to rise up, and he did so much to help them out. And when he finally gets to the door, the one way out is to dive into the ocean. And he just says to Cassian, I can't
No.
swim. And they have to leave him. What happened to him? We may never know, and we shouldn't know. That's the beauty of it.
We should
He
know.
may have just died. That's it. That's it, man. We will never know.
So sad. That's so
brilliant.
sad, man. Kino, I can't swim. That sounds out of context. That if someone makes it out of context confirmation to go, I can't swim. Like in this term.
Well, after the episode, I was about to text my friend, I can't swim. But then I realized, imagine if they hadn't watched the episode and he's got a text from me being like, I can't swim. Like, okay, that's weird. Sure.
That's that. You didn't get swimming lessons, haha, haha. No, but literally that. Yeah, it's great, and then it's got so many quotes as well. Never less than 12.
Oh, yes, that ending
yeah.
of episode 9. Brilliant.
Oh,
Like
brilliant.
there are so many of those moments. And a lot of Disney Plus shows. We've talked about all the Star Wars shows, all the Marvel shows, apart from What If. And they're all kind of, 6 episodes, 8 episodes. This is 12, and every episode is about 40 minutes long, sometimes longer. And it's so good to have a show that never misses a single trick. Every week I was like, when is it going to get bad? I was sort of expecting it to dip in quality because most of the shows do, especially around the middle. But there isn't a dip in quality. Every single episode delivered. Oh, just brilliant. Like this is such a high standard for Star Wars. I don't know how we're going to go back to Mandalorian now. Like,
it's gonna be so weird.
It will be. Like, don't get me wrong. The Mandalorian has its place. Everything has its place. I love it all. But this is so unexpected and something I didn't know that I wanted, that I want everything to be like that now.
Yeah, it's gonna be so weird because it's like Gilroy, he made a fully fleshed out first season of Andor and leading up to Rogue One. And I wonder when season 2 finishes, I wonder if that's gonna make Rogue One better.
I think it already is. And I think that, like, this can only get better, this show.
Yeah, it can get better because there's so many great moments, and I feel like that it's gonna be, everyone's gonna be looking at it. It's like, yeah, that is the ultimate Star Wars show. For, you need to understand the ideologies, the dichotomy between the rebellion and the Empire, and then how people are being taken away or being brainwashed for this.
And it begins to show the dark side of the rebellion as well. It
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
so
of
clean
course.
cut as just a load of like heroes who banded together. The literal like first sequence of the show has Cassian killing somebody in cold blood. And that was the moment where I was like, oh damn, this is real.
Oh damn.
He has one of the corpos and he has him to gunpoint and he just says, tell me what to do. What do I do at this point? Do I let you go? Like, and he shoots him. It's fantastic. Like, I didn't know that it would go that hard, but it really did in all the best ways. I was really, really thrilled with the way that this show didn't hold back on showing that the good guys, they did some pretty nasty stuff to get to be the good guys. Luthen in episode 10 has this fantastic speech where he talks about the things that he must do, the things that he sacrificed, the ways that he can't have any real relationships. He shares his dreams with ghosts. He will burn his life for a sunset that he will never see. And he has this brilliant moment where he just says, what do I sacrifice? Everything. And it's just brilliant. It's so good that every character is so layered and they're not shying away from any of the darkness of the show.
Yeah, we really get to explore them. And that's great. That is the great part of Andor. You get to explore everything about those characters. You get to see the dark side of the rebellion, how messed up it is. You see those different ideas for people who are trying to get the stuff from the Empire in. Okay, when
the heist,
the episode,
the heist, episode 6.
Yeah. So like some people don't care about the rebellion, some people don't really want to get that. And there's some people who are really passionate, like Nemec. He wants to fight against it. And you get to see the messed up side of it. And Luthen, which episode did he laugh?
That was episode 6. At the end when he finds out about Aldani. Brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that the cast in this show is
Bill's
spectacular. And Stellan Skarsgård is so good. Like there's this moment in episode 4 where he puts on his wig for the first time, and
Oh,
he does this little smile. He gets into that persona that he puts on. And what was that? What was that,
I,
John?
his
What was
laugh.
that
I'm
little
sorry.
laugh?
That laugh is like, hee. I'm
Sure,
sorry. I'm
sure.
sorry. Please ignore that.
No,
I'm
that
sorry.
was beautiful. That was beautiful. You deserve it. You deserve an Emmy just for that. But
And,
like
and
this,
okay,
well, yeah, it's a TV show. They win Emmys.
okay, okay.
This has got to
Oh,
be
of
a big
course,
Emmy.
yeah.
Like this
It's
is
got
going
to
to win
win
a
an
lot of,
Emmy.
yeah.
If it
Like come
doesn't,
on.
then I cry.
Yes, exactly.
I
But
cry.
like there's so
Weep.
many layered moments, and he's got these two lives of his shop and also his secret like darker life. And you see the similar thing with Mon Mothma as well, who is constantly having to put on this facade. And I think that's brilliant, the way that she has to lie and she has to just put on this persona that we know eventually she's going to have to go on the run from the Empire, when she eventually sheds it and speaks out about the Emperor. We see that a little bit in Star Wars Rebels, but like it's just brilliant. Just well
Brilliant.
done, everyone.
Yes, this is Andor, and this is the show. Yes, we talked
This
about.
is indeed. And
Yeah.
final point, anybody who has been listening to the pod for a while will know that we've been quite frustrated with Disney and their queer representation, but we got
Hey,
lesbians in this show, everyone.
yay!
Cinta and Vel, it was really great to see them and to see their relationship blossom. And I was just really happy to see stuff like that
Oh
and the
hell
way
yeah!
that they treated all of it with, such respect. Unlike something like Love and Thunder, not to beat a dead horse, but come
Oh,
on, not over it. I'll never be over it. And this show was again, it feels like an antidote to everything. It
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 does.
feels like the Batman in the sense where it's like, no, these things can still be excellent without the cameos and without all the corners that they consistently cut. They can still be beautifully written, beautifully shot, beautifully acted, and I have a great commentary on the world.
Just the world. Yes,
Just the
it has a
world.
great.
Yeah.
I'm
Just the
sorry. I thought
world.
you meant. I thought you said
Society.
no. I thought you said like I have a great commentary on the world, and I was just waiting you to say it. I was like, what?
No. The writers
What?
do. I don't have anything to say. We live
I
in a
literally thought
society. That's all I
I thought
have.
you were gonna say something. I was waiting. I was like, is he gonna
No,
say stuff about the world?
I have a manifesto. I have a
Oh my god.
manifesto that you can listen
Oh my
to.
god. But yeah, the writers definitely they have a great
Yeah.
commentary. Yeah.
So yeah, that's Andor season 1. I mean, like,
Come on.
fantastic. I'm so excited for season 2. I
Oh,
know that
season two.
they were originally going to do 5 seasons, but they decided not to
Five.
because yeah, they decided not to because it was going to be too much work, which is fair enough. But
Too much work.
I
Understandable. Understandable.
yeah, I selfishly want them to do 5 seasons, but I get it. I'm very excited for season 2
Don't
whenever that
they
comes
can't do
out.
five.
I want 5, god damn
No,
it.
you know you don't want five. You know five can be a bit tiring, but
Yeah, it's
two
true.
is good. Two
It's
is
true.
good
Two,
because
yeah. So
space. Yeah, yeah.
spa
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
space,
yeah.
space. Cowboy Bebop. Wait, what?
Not the Netflix adaptation, the original anime. You know what I'm talking about, like because
Oh
that's
yeah,
got
only
26 episodes, and
yeah. Oh
then
right, yeah. Fair enough. I mean, Andor will be 24 episodes.
yeah, and then space. How many episodes?
Oh, spaced. I thought you just said space. Just
Space. How
space.
many episodes?
The final frontier. Oh, I see. I see. Yeah, no. Shows are always better when they quit while they're ahead. Some of my favorite shows, The Flash, for example, it should have ended at season 2. It's now on season 9, and it's a shell of what it used to be. I still enjoy it because it's stupid, but
My
yeah,
name's
I understand
Barry
what you
Allen.
mean.
I am the Flash, and I
Yes,
work with
that.
stars. Not
Yes,
stars.
you are. You work with
Stars.
stars. Stars
No,
such as
Stars is from Resident Evil. I'm sorry, it's Star Labs, but there's a company in a game called Stars, and it's just like
ah.
stars.
Okay, Andor, what are you gonna give season 1 out of 10?
10. 10
Yeah,
all the way.
I
That
agree.
is
I
it is a
agree.
masterful piece of television right there. It is one of the best things you can see in Star Wars since the original trilogy. It gives
Mm.
that emotion, it gives that realism, and it just gives that, that commentary on the world. And yeah, that is my final thoughts of Andor. This is the best. Please watch.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Okay, we've got 1 minute, 15 seconds left of this Zoom call. Let's see if we can get this done. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you're listening on YouTube and you enjoyed it, give us a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And if you're listening on Spotify, you can follow us and give us a 5-star review if you think we're worthy. Next week, we're doing Glass Onion. Very excited for that. You can give us an email of all your questions and tell us your thoughts on Andor, or give us any questions at oustimefilmpod@gmail.com, and follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Go, John, go.
Thank you for listening. We thoroughly enjoyed about Andor, and go watch it, please. Please watch it. Thank you for listening. Yeah, that's it. Take what you're given.
Give nothing back.
Goodbye.
One way out. One way out.
One way out.
Should we just chant? Should we just chant one way out until the Zoom call ends?
Yeah.
One way out. One
way out.
One way out.
One way out.
One way out.
One way
One way out.
One way out.
One way out.
One way out.
One way out. One way out. One way out.
One way out.
One way out.
One way out.
When's it ending? One way out.
When's it ending?
One way out.
One way out.
One way out. One way out. One way out.
One way out.
One way out. One way out.
One way out.
Let us out, please.